What's good, man? It's OG Drip, man. This is a channel where we talk about the spiritual truth and how to utilize energy on a day-to-day basis. And y'all, listen, today, man, we're going to go ahead and jump right into it and talk about the Last Supper. Now, the Last Supper is not what you have been told, you know, and this thing, what is going on is basically called Catholicism, and we all been hit by it. It's basically when they taking all the love for the Son, well, all the love for God, and basically replacing it with man. So if you look at all our paintings and our pictures nowadays, our drawings, and our whole basically trying to wrap our imagination around what they consider as God. So if you know anything about spells, this is how a spell works. You know what I mean? Most times it works when you don't even know what's going on. So it's basically like this. When you was first born, you seen everything that was going on. You looked up, you seen the sky, you seen the stars, you seen the sun, you seen the moon. Nobody didn't have to tell you it was there. It's always showed itself. Like it says in the Bible, you know, it says God said it'd be there with you all the time. You see that it's there. No matter what's going on, they're there. So when we start getting down deep to talking about how important this is because you can activate parts of your brain. And this is what we call the kundalini energy. And it's the same thing that goes on when you see that blue serpent and that red serpent inside the belly of Lucifer. You get what I'm saying? So this is really is what the way they trying to control it. But see, the energy is basically how to activate your brain to being able to utilize your full potential and being able to activate your higher conscious. You know what I mean? So when we talk about this, they try to basically trick you out the game. Because they know at the end of the day, if you had this, it would be no control. So this is what goes back to why they control the world. This is why. Because they don't want people to be, you know what I'm saying, who they are. They want you to change and be who they want you to be. They want you to be into their little box, into their little square. You get what I'm saying? Try to fix you out. And when you think about it, it's just like living life as a prison. So if you ever think about how they make God sound like life is prison. You know what I mean? So that's the reason why they put a human figure there to try to push it on him. But at the end of the day, it's not a man, and it cannot be a man. A man is not a spirit. You get what I'm saying? So therefore, the Father and the Son is not the same. So we will know that the Son is the actual Father. So when you even look at the sons, you can see that is what it's supposed to be. So how can it be in a human, a flesh? So therefore, it hasn't basically ascended yet. So when we start talking about flesh and why they make it like that, you know, they're trying to push you away from God. You get what I'm saying? They're making you worship man over God. So they're putting you under a spell that you don't know that you're under. So now you be like, oh man, that man in the sky, when it ain't no man in the sky. Even physics show you that a man can't float in the sky like that. You know what I mean? Like seriously. And if you're thinking about it, if being a man, that is limiting the actual God. That is pure blasphemy. So if you limiting God into this one being, you need to know that is not right. That is not correct. You get what I'm saying? So even when we go down to breaking down everything, bro, even to the point of this, how important the stars, how important the planets, and how important everything above us is, they infatuate it with the number 12 and don't realize why. So when we go down to the number 12, it's just like how many people at the the Last Supper besides Jesus is 12, right? So before we even get into that, we need to know why the number 12 pop up so much. So now if you look at the sky, astronomers say the sky is divided into 12 portions. Now each one of these portions supposed to reflect the movement of the heavenly bodies. So now when we starting to listen to that, notice what's up in the sky that's switching over every month, since it's 12 months in a year. So we start to notice that those would be zodiacs. So now when you start listening to it, it makes sense because it says the sky is divided into 12, you know, and then it says each portion is ruled by a God, a divine being, a teacher, a prophet, or a son of the sun. Now that would make more sense because if you're looking at light, if you're looking at the stars, look at the stars as a smaller version of the sun. You get what I'm saying? So now it's starting to open up, and this is the thing that they want you to avoid, because once it open up, it started getting real. Because now even when we go to other mythologies, no matter where you at across the world, we talking about these religions, it even go back to Norse mythology. So you got Odin, right? But they say Odin sat on a chair and overlooked all creation and had 12 children. 12 sons, I meant. Now if you look at that, the 12 sons supposed to be like that. Suns, S-U-N, not S-O-N. So what we would say is sun then would mean the word light. So the smaller versions of the lights that's created from a bigger light would be zodiacs. You get what I'm saying? So those would be the 12 zodiacs once again. So now we know that the Babylonians had the longest influence upon all calendars. You know what I'm saying? Times, religions, no matter what you want to go to. And it always in phrase of the number 12. So now even when you talk about I don't know how you say it, like the zodiacs or however, they had 12 commanders on the side of light. Light is being a symbol of the sun. See, it's symbolic. And this is what we talk about when you see a whole bunch of Egypt stuff and you see a whole bunch of sun and stuff like that. We knew then that Ra wasn't an actual walking person, that Ra was the sun. So even back then, so we're going to break down the whole video on that. But just to go ahead and just give it to you, just to show you how much the 12 come in, you even had what it was, 12 tribes of Israel. The Greek had 12 gods of Mount Olympus. The Christians believe that it's 12 disciples. So even when we go to the Muslims, they say there's 12 ruling ayams that's following Muhammad. So even when you go down to Buddhism, it's 12 life stages. So look how many times the number 12 pop up. Now, when you look at the number 12, think about it just like when they say the number 13. Look at it, one of them is being the light, and the other one is being the zodiacs that follow behind. And we're going to do breakdowns on each individual thing because this is why it's important, so we can free our mind. Let's get into it. So now, when y'all see these people, they always have someone standing in front of the light. Whether it's Lucifer, whether it's Jesus, whether it's Zeus, however you want to say it. Now, when a person is standing in front of the light, they is blocking the light, literally. You know what I'm saying? They're creating a shadow. And this is, you already know, this is what happened when you go out right now. You can test this. You know what I'm saying? You stand in front of the sun, you'll give somebody basically a shade. So when we looking at this stuff, we know that you could look at just how these people is trying to block out the sun. So now even when it get deep to why the sun would I be Jesus on the Last Supper. Look, the sun would be Jesus, and it would be the two phases of waning and waxing. So this is when the sun is going through what we call different seasons. So if you look, Jesus is in the middle. So that's 6 on the left, 6 on the right. And now we have a head of the table. The head of the table will be the Aries, just like we call in astrology. You know what I'm saying? The head will be Aries, and the feet of the table will be Pisces, which is the bottom, which is Simon. So if you're looking at that, that'll show you so far that we talking about zodiacs. And then to even get even deeper to that Jesus being the sun, that we could even look at the year to what we living today. Okay, boom. Look at it. Aries, Taurus, Gemini. That's all the spring. Then when we talk about Cancer, Leo, and then Virgo, look, Virgo will be the end of the summer. So you already know this is summer. And what at the end of the summer will be when the sun is getting ready to switch phases. That's why Jesus is right there. So then even when you go to the next 3, and notice each people at the table is divided into 4 groups of 3, which is 3 times 4 is 12. However you want to look at it, still go back to the reference of 12. So now we look in and we see that Libra is the beginning of what we'll call today as fall. You know what I'm saying? To water. And the water will be Scorpio, fire, that's Sagittarius. And then it ends off again. So now we enter in the winter. And the winter will be Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. So as you can see, it all makes sense. You get what I'm saying? And the reason why they didn't want to talk about it and don't want you to know that it's just besides that is because then you can understand the Holy Trinity, the bond between the Virgo and the sun. You get what I'm saying? Because that's why if you really look, that's why sometimes they have a female there, and that female is Mary. And when you think about the word Mary, it even goes back to back then when they say Mary. Hold on, excuse me. When it says that Mary, the meaning for Mary, so we could break that down too real quick. Mary means high priest. You get what I'm saying? And Magdalene's means tower of knowledge, or however you say it. Excuse me. But even Zeus and Jesus is the same thing. We already know that. And Christ means gold. So this is what we mean by the Holy Trinity. You get what I'm saying? This is when you're able to build a bond and a connection between God. So this is the connection that they wanted to block us off of. So when you even look how deep it goes, we could talk about the colors. Look how the bond is between the Virgo sign, right? And look at the bond between Jesus. Well, we're going to say Mary and look at the bond between Jesus, right? So when you go down to and look at their coloring, look at their cloth, right? You notice they have on mix match, like one have this one overall blue and one have this one overall red. So now this is where it get deep, y'all, because now we're talking about the kundalini energy, the masculine energy and the feminine energy, and together what it do for you. It brings you to God, aka the higher conscious. So now when we start to talk about that, now look at it. Now the balance of the right brain will be, you know what I'm saying? The balance of the right brain will be female, and the left brain will be male. So this is what we also see as, I'm gonna talk about it later on too, is what we call Solomon, or what some people would say, you know what I'm saying, the temple of Solomon is connected. But just to not get off that level, this is what we're saying. So now you're able to evolve, you're equally evolved, you attract and you're not united. So this like the yin and the yang sign. So if you look at how they got each other opposite clothing on, think about the yin and yang sign, how it's black and white, and think about how I got a pole here and a pole there. And y'all already know those two poles, it gets deep because we're talking about being the one. So now we're talking about being united. So that is what it means, you know what I'm saying, to be united with God. It's not talking about like being united with a man. And this is where we have to understand that the energy of God cannot be measured. This is where that comes from. And when you sitting it down and measure it as a physical human, like that's garbage. And then on top of that, we can even talk about that. If it's a physical human, how come y'all haven't found no bones of these people, right? But got dinosaur bones, and dinosaurs supposed to be here ages ago. That don't make sense. You know what I mean? It literally don't make sense, and it don't take a rocket science to be able to figure that out. But yes, when we talk about the counterparts of the brain, it gets real deep. You know what I'm saying? That's why Jesus wore a red garment with a blue coat, and Mary wore a blue garment with a red cloak. You get what I'm saying? So this just representing the balance, bro. Like I said, the polarity, the duality at the same time. You get what I'm saying? So this is where all that comes from. So, man, when you start figuring that out, boom, your mind will open up. You don't see this man blocking your image. You see energy. You see that you are in control of this. You could gain access to this. You could be like God. You get what I'm saying? For real. You can be able to actually draw the lines to where these things going at. And this is just the beginning, y'all. It's going to get deeper. We're going to talk about more things. But it's just to keep you on level of what's actually going on. So when you seeing these drawings and these pictures and stuff, know that these people that sitting here telling you to worship this and that, a man came and brung you this, a woman or whoever, it still was at the end of the day was man as in human brung you this to tell you this was the right way to the light. When therefore you could have went outside yourself and looked up and seen the light with nobody telling you. So that's the whole point of what's going on today. So if you have anything to say that, oh, that's wrong, no, you get outside that book, learn how to be spiritual, then come back and read that book, because then you will be able to make things spiritual. If you're not really spiritual, you're caught in a religion, that's somebody else's spirit. That's somebody else's space that they trap you in. So you cannot grow. So you cannot learn who you are and be proud of who you are and embrace yourself. You know what I'm saying? That's what they meant by self-work. They weren't talking about like actual self-worship like that. They just saying, you know what I'm saying, know what yourself is worth. You know what I mean? Don't be sitting there decatalyzing yourself, knowing that we all have different energy. We all is different at the end of the day, but we the same. You get what I'm saying? But these energies that make us different is the zodiacs. So at the end of the day, no matter how you look at it, you could draw it up, come to your own conclusion. It all is going to show you, even when even when you look at the twins at the table, notice the twins. That's representing Gemini. You get what I'm saying? Like, man, bro, it's right there showing you. So it just get deep because he in a pose with his hands up. You get what I'm saying? The apostle, you know, he from the left of Andrew. Is he up there with his hands up and his palm forward, which is Gemini rules the hands as well. So we got to understand that, man. When we talk about these hands and then we talk about all this stuff, we could look at astrology and explain each sign ruling body part and ruling area. So you could even see what it meant. It didn't literally mean actual flesh. It was being symbolic. And then when you start looking at it from an actual physical flesh, then that's the case. The same people that's controlling the world is not doing by nothing right by what they saying that they God supposed to be doing. And that is the reason what we saying today. They sitting here to box you in, to sit there and cube you in. You know how these people say think outside the box? You can't think outside this box. And it's not even your box. This is a box that they made for you, that they done built up so well that you are willing to fight and defend someone else's own belief when you could go out no matter what and know that the stars is up, know that the sky is up, like no matter what's going on. You get what I'm saying? And listen, you already know it gets even deeper, even to the point of when you born, you come out, you supposed to a proper birth is head first. And that is even what we'll call, you know what I'm saying, the Aries of life. You starting to begin life. So, man, y'all better get it and understanding, man, because they out here to trick us. They out here to make you miserable because a miserable spirit is going to keep coming back. Because if you can't live your life and express who you are and actually go by the energy that's inside of you, then why was so many of us made? It don't make sense. Like, none of that makes sense. So you can't force someone to be a certain way. Only thing they could do is learn how to utilize the energy and that they was equipped with, such as a zodiac being in a different house, such as however it plays out. Just know that at the end of the day, this is the lights. This is what defined us. You know what I'm saying? This is our makeups, and this is what determine how we go throughout the astral realms, how we carry ourselves as a spirit. You can't say something is wrong for someone, and it may be like that's the way they live life. You know what I mean? You can't sit there and tell a Leo sun not to shine, not to express itself, and then you sit there and then you tell, you know what I'm saying, a Virgo to stop analyzing. You don't need to think about all this stuff. Hey, it get deep, and that's what I am, a Virgo sun. So I'm gonna go pull up the evidence. I'm gonna do all that. You know what I'm saying? It's like being investigated. You know what I mean? So when we start talking about that, it get deep to even why we talk about the hands. It's furthest when some people talk, they communicate with their hands. So if you can't even see with your sight, you still communicate with your hands. You know, you know what I mean? Like you can feel on things. You know, that's why they got Braille and stuff like that on doors. Man, it's common sense, bro. It's not like these people was super smart. No, these people were super thieves. They stole everything from ancient cultures and put their marking on it and scared you away from it, telling you that this is worship the devil, this and that. There ain't no man under the ground either. The only thing that's going on with hell is a mental state. Hell is a mental state of not being able to be free, aka being trapped into a magic spell. So when we look at the Bible, even look at the square of the Bible. So look at it as that, being an actual book that traps you, and it's already written with languages that's spoken to speak spells, Latin and stuff. So when you start thinking about that, it goes super far back into how these people have betrayed us, and then it get even deeper. So if you want to get even deeper, to be like, yo, that can't be true for all Bibles. Yes, it is. Why is it so many different stories onto God and you shouldn't know the truth automatically? It's so many different stories. You get what I'm saying? And then on top of that, when you're looking at it, it's like one person saying this and one person saying that. So at the end of the day, it's like, how is they all contradicting each other? They can't be the same God. So, you know what I'm saying? But really, in reality, it's that reverse psychology. It is the same God. And that God is being, how they see it as just Lucifer, as being how they want to bend and break everything that's going on, how they want to control the world, how they want to push the agendas and stuff. And it all started from Skull and Bone, 223 Society, and so forth. It goes so far back. That is the reason why they don't like to talk about those things in history. But it would sit there and make us go at war by giving you black history and giving you you know what I'm saying, our African American history that they say is, but they don't want to talk about the history of what they stole, how they stole all these monuments, how they use mummies and stuff to do sacrifices, and how they doing these things on a day-to-day basis and telling you not to do it. And then when you sitting there, you think about it, every time you talk to God into their hands, like if you go to church right now, you say, what God got to say for me, you speaking to somebody else. You speaking to a man. You're not even speaking to God. Every time you try to talk to God, bro, and this on everything I love, and you cannot beat this. You're talking to yourself. Right now, get 10 people in the room and ask each one on what God told them. Each one of them gonna be different. And that is the whole point of understanding that. The energy is too big to be measured. It's infinite. You know what I'm saying? It's never out. It never run out. When y'all putting it in that kind of cap there, it's not cool. It's like saying, like, boom, you're not explaining exactly what's going on. Because another thing is, like, when they say Jesus died and was resurrected, like, he never came back. Like, what happened? And then another thing, if he was such a superhuman and had superpowers, why wasn't he able to protect himself? Like, why would you let yourself get damaged in a physical form, die off, make people go through so much trauma throughout the whole village just for you to come back and then leave again? That don't make sense. That don't make sense, y'all. That sound like what someone does nowadays. Come and they push this stuff. They push you to get this. They push you to do that. They control the school curriculum and they control everything, bro. It's evil Jews. So it's like, if this junk even be monetized, bro, hopefully it do. But either way, I don't care. It's still getting posted. It's just about how they censorship everything and they mute things. They don't want you to know the truth, because then you realize you don't need nobody. And us as a unit, if we all was to get on this same level, we will be at a 5G state. We will have peace, unity, no more poverty like that. No, none of that stuff going on. It'll be more peace at the mind. So, like I said, peace of mind. That's what they want to control, your mind, soul, and body. How they control your mind is making you follow and worship a man when you should be following and worshiping the light. And in other terms, like in astrology, man's means masculine energy. So even when we go back to that, that makes more sense of actually seeing how the spirit is. But man, that's all I'm gonna break down, man. And I'm out, y'all. I love y'all, dog. And that's it. OG Drip.